right, what's up guys? We are doing lesson 2.2, which is dealing with midpoint and fractional distance. And just so you guys know, we did both of these on one dimension number line, but today I'm going to show you how to do it on a 2D coordinate system here, okay? So the first thing we're going to look at is exactly how do I find the midpoint using a coordinate system here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write up here what exactly the midpoint is of this, okay? So if we're dealing with midpoint, we're dealing with two different coordinates, right? So that means I have to do x2 plus x1, and I'm going to divide that by 2, and that's going to give you your x coordinate. Then I'm going to do y2 plus y1, and I'm going to divide that by 2, and that's going to give me my y coordinate. So that's what I'm going to do on example 1 and 2, and I'm going to show you how to find the midpoint. So let's look at example number 1. So it looks like on example number 1, I have point X down here and point Y up here. So first thing I have to do is I have to recognize what my 2 points are going to be. So let's go ahead and figure that out. So X here, it looks like it's going to be all the way 8 over and up 2. So this is going to be 8 comma 2. And then Y over here looks like it's going to be 1 over, and I'm going to go up 7. So 1 comma 7. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know it does not matter how you label the points, as long as you label them. And what I mean by that is I could make this my 1s, or I can make them my 2s. I could make these my 1s or make them my 2s. As long as you label them, it doesn't matter. So up here, I'm gonna make these my 1s. So I'm gonna label this x1, y1, so x1, y1. And down here, I'm gonna label it x2 and y2. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna plug everything into my formula. So my formula is up top. I'm gonna take both these points and plug them in, okay? So let's go off of this one up here. So x2 here, looks like down here is gonna be 8. x1 here, which is here, is gonna be 1, and I'm gonna divide that by 2. That's gonna give me my x coordinate, okay? So now I'm gonna do the y. So y2, which is down here, is gonna be 2, and y1 over here, which is gonna be 7, and I'm gonna divide that by 2. Okay, so now all I have to do is add this. So 8 plus 1 is going to be 9. 9 divided by 2 is going to give you 4.5. 2 plus 7 is going to be 9. 9 divided by 2 is also going to be 4.5. So it looks like my midpoint of these 2 points is going to be 4.5, 4.5. So let's check it. So I'm going to go over 4.5, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And it looks like if I was to draw a number line going between those two, that looks like pretty smack dab in the middle, okay? All right, so now let's look at example number 2 over here. So I'm gonna work the same thing, but I'm gonna work it on example number 2 now. So let me scoot over here. Okay, so there we go. So it looks like I got point C and point D up there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna figure out what those 2 points are, and then I'm gonna solve for the problem here. Okay, so here we go. So it looks like point C is 1, 2, 3, 4, so -4, comma, 1, 2, 3, -3, okay? Looks like D up here is gonna be +1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And again, it does not matter how I label them as long as I label them correctly, okay? So I'm gonna make these my 1s, I'm gonna make these my 2s, okay? Again, all I'm gonna do is follow the formula. X2 is 1, x1 is -4. y2 is 5. y1 is -3. So 1 minus 4 is going to be -3. -3 divided by 2 is going to give you -1.5. 5 plus -3 is going to give you 2. 2 divided by 2 is going to give you 1. So it looks like my midpoint between these 2 points is going to be -1.51. Let's check that out. So I'm going to go -1.5 and 1. And it looks like right there, ladies and gentlemen, that point is going to be smack dab in the middle, okay? If the midpoint of line AB is located at 0, 2, and point A is located at -3, -2, what is the coordinate of point B, okay? So right now we're trying to find point B. I've been given the midpoint. I know what point A is. So point A is going to be -3, -2, correct? And I'm going to go ahead and I know I have to label the 2 points to find my midpoint. I'm gonna go ahead and label these as my 2s, okay? And then I know that this is gonna be my midpoint, so I know x2 plus x1 divided by 2 is gonna equal my x coordinate of my midpoint. I know y2 plus y1 divided by 2 is gonna be equal to the y coordinate of my midpoint, You understand that? So I've been given one of my points, now I need to find the other one. So I'm gonna take A here, and I'm gonna plug it into my formula, which are my 2's. So x2 here is going to be -3, and this was actually x1. y2 here is gonna be -2. And so now all I have to do is solve for both of these. So here we go. So I'm gonna multiply by 2 on both sides. 2 times 0 is 0. Then I'm gonna end up adding 3 to both sides. So that means x1 is going to be +3. Same thing over here. I'm gonna multiply by 2 on both sides, which is gonna give me 4. Then I'm gonna add 2 to both sides, which is gonna give you 6. So y1 is 6. So put them together, that means my B coordinate is going to be 3, 6. Bingo, okay? Now lastly on this guy, we are gonna figure out what fractional distance. So we have learned fractional distance on a 1 dimension. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to do fractional distance on 2 dimensions, okay? And so now this formula here, let me zoom in a little bit more so we can get this big enough. My formula is gonna be as follows. Remember, I'm finding an x coordinate and I'm finding a y coordinate. So this is gonna be my distance formula. So parentheses, it's gonna be x1 plus k, parentheses, x2 minus x1, comma, because I gotta find 2 coordinates, y1 plus k, and then a y2 minus y1, parentheses. And then I gotta close the parentheses because I'm finding 2 different coordinates. So this is gonna find my x coordinate, this is gonna find my y coordinate. So let's go and look at this. So it says, find the coordinates of C if it is 2/3 of the distance from A to B. Make sure you guys understand, this is a huge part or a huge key of getting the answer correct because it says from A to B. So this means this is my start and this is my finish. So that's gonna be a huge key whenever I plug this in, because now, since it's saying A, A's are gonna be my 1's, B's are gonna be my 2's. So start to finish. So let's go ahead and look at these points and figure out what I need to do to figure it out. So here we go. So point A here looks like -4, +1. It looks like B here is gonna be +5, +5. And so now, again, I told you guys point A has to be my starting point. So I'm gonna make these my 1's, I'm gonna make these my 2's. Okay? And so now I'm just gonna plug it into my formula. So here we go, I'm gonna use a different color. Let's use blue again, okay? So here we go. So x1, again, down here is gonna be -4, plus k, remember k is gonna be my fraction, and then x2, which is gonna be 5, minus x1, which is gonna be -4, okay? So now all we gotta do is solve this to figure out my x coordinate. So 5 minus -4, so remember, double negative turns into plus. 5 plus 4 is gonna give me 9. 9 times 2 is gonna give me 18. 18 divided by 3 is gonna give me 6. -4 plus 6 is gonna end up giving me 2. So that means my x coordinate of the fractional distance of 2/3 is gonna be 2. So I'm just gonna put 2 up here, okay? And so now I need to find my y coordinate. So I'm gonna use the same formula but now for y. So y1 is 1 plus k, which is 2/3, and then parentheses y2, which is gonna be 5, minus 1, which is my y1. So 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is gonna end up being 8. And then I end up having to do 3 into 8. It's gonna be 2, 6, bring down the 2, 20. So 3 will go into 26 times, which is 18, 2. So it's just gonna be 2.6 repeated. So it'll be 1 plus 2.66. I'm gonna add that together, which is gonna be 3.66 is going to be my y coordinate of 2/3 the distance. So 3.66, okay? And so now let's go ahead and look. I'm gonna erase this and I'm actually gonna plot this guy and see if it's 2/3. So if I go over 2 and then up 1, 2, 3, and then 0.6 is gonna be about right here. If we look, that's gonna be on my line, and it is about 2/3 the way because it's just over half. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you find fractional distance by using the fractional distance formula, ladies and gentlemen.